The alien ship drifted silently through the cold darkness of space. Its name was Harmony's Light, and it had been dead in the water for 3 days now. Inside the ship, Captain Vextar stared at the flickering lights on his control panel with growing fear. Each blink meant another system was failing. "How long do we have left?" he asked his chief engineer, Cole Then. The engineer's long fingers danced over his instruments. His blue skin had turned pale with worry. "Maybe 2 days, Captain. The life support is dying. We cannot fix the main engine without parts we do not have." Vextar closed his 4 eyes and tried to think. His ship carried 12 of the best scientists from his world. They had been studying a strange star when their engine exploded. Now they were stuck in empty space, far from any trade routes. No one knew where they were. The Zilani were a peaceful people. They had been exploring space for over 300 years, but they had never built warships. Their vessels were made for research, not survival. When things went wrong, they usually called for help from other Zilani ships. But they were too far from home now. "Captain," said Nexara, his communications officer, "should we send a distress signal?" "To whom?" Vextar asked. "There are no Zilani ships in this area of space. I could broadcast on all frequencies. Maybe someone else will hear us." Vextar thought about this. The galaxy was full of different species, and most of them were not friendly to strangers. Some were traders who might help for the right price. Others were pirates who would take everything and leave them to die. A few were worse than pirates, but what choice did they have? "Do it," he said. "Send the signal on all channels. Tell them we are peaceful researchers who need help. Give them our location." Nexara nodded and began working on the message. She spoke into her transmitter in the common trade language that most species understood. "This is the research vessel Harmony's Light of the Zilani Republic. We are stranded and in need of immediate assistance. Our main engine has failed and our life support is failing. We are peaceful scientists requesting aid from any vessel that receives this message. Our coordinates are..." The message went out into space at the speed of light. It would take time to reach anyone and more time for help to arrive. If help came at all that far away, in a different part of the galaxy, the message traveled through the darkness until it reached a small moon orbiting a blue and green world. The moon was covered in metal buildings and giant dishes that listened to space. Lisa Grant was working the night shift at Luna Station. She sat in a room full of computers and screens, listening to the radio chatter of space. Most of it was boring trade talk or military communications. But tonight, something different came through her speakers. "This is the research vessel Harmony's Light. Lisa sat up straight. She had never heard this language before, but her computer was already working to translate it. The words appeared on her screen as the alien voice continued speaking. "Stranded. Need help. Life support. Failing. Her hands flew over her keyboard. This was first contact with a new species, and they were in trouble. She recorded everything and began tracing the signal back to its source. The coordinates appeared on her star map, showing a location far outside human space. "Holy shit," she whispered. Then she grabbed her phone and called her supervisor. "Commander Harris? This is Grant at Luna Station. You need to get down here. Right now, we just received an alien distress signal." 20 minutes later, Commander Bill Harris stood behind Lisa's chair, listening to the recorded message for the 3rd time. His coffee had gone cold, but he did not notice. "Are you sure this is real?" he asked. "Not some kind of test or joke." "The signal came from deep space, sir. The linguistics computer says it is a real language with consistent grammar and structure. Someone is really out there, and they need help." Harris nodded slowly. "Send this up the chain. Command needs to know about this immediately." Within an hour, the message had reached Admiral Jake Morrison at Fleet Command on Earth. He sat in his office reading the translation report and the technical analysis. The signal was real. The aliens were really in trouble. Morrison had been in the fleet for 30 years. He had fought pirates, explored new worlds, and commanded ships in battles across human space. But he had never dealt with aliens before. Humans had always wondered if they were alone in the galaxy. Now they had their answer. He called his staff together for an emergency meeting. Captain Ben Hayes arrived first, still wearing his workout clothes. Dr. Amy Foster came next, carrying a bag full of language books. Colonel Ryan Bell walked in wearing his dress uniform, looking serious as always. "We have a situation," Morrison began. "We just received a distress call from an alien ship. They are stranded and dying." He played the recording. The alien voice sounded sad and desperate, even translated into English. "What do we know about them?" asked Captain Hayes. "Not much," Morrison replied. "They call themselves Zilani. They say they are peaceful researchers. Their ship is dead in space about 40 light years from here." "Could be a trap," Colonel Bell said. "Pirates use fake distress calls all the time." Dr. Foster shook her head. "I have been studying the language structure. This is too complex to be fake. These are real people with their own culture and way of thinking." Morrison looked at each of his officers. "What are your recommendations?" "We have to help them," Hayes said immediately. "If they are really dying out there, we cannot just ignore it." "I agree," Dr. Foster added. "This could be humanity's first contact with alien life. We have a chance to show them who we are." Colonel Bell was quiet for a moment. "If we go ready for anything. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst." Morrison nodded. "Then we respond." "Captain Hayes, prepare your ship. Dr. Foster, put together a first contact team. Colonel Bell, ready your Marines. We launch in 6 hours." As his officers left to prepare, Morrison stared out his window at the stars. Somewhere out there, aliens were dying in the cold of space. They had sent a message hoping someone would hear them. They had no idea that their call for help had reached the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Humans were about to make their first impression on the universe. The human fleet was ready in 5 hours and 37 minutes. Admiral Morrison stood on the bridge of the command station, watching 3 ships prepare to leave Earth's solar system. Each ship had a different job to do. The largest ship was the Defiance, a heavy cruiser built for fighting. Captain Ben Hayes walked through his ship, checking on his crew of 200. The Defiance carried powerful weapons and strong shields, but today it would be used for protection, not attack. "Are we ready, Commander?" Hayes asked his second-in-command. "All systems green, Captain. The crew is excited about meeting aliens." Hayes nodded. His people were good soldiers, but they had never done anything like this before. Neither had he. The second ship was called the Mercy. It was smaller than the Defiance, but filled with medical equipment and healing supplies. Dr. Kate Sullivan had worked all night to prepare for alien patients. She had no idea what these Zilani looked like or how their bodies worked. "We have enough medicine to treat 50 humans," she told her medical team. "I hope some of it will work on aliens too. We also have surgical tools and life support machines." Her team had studied the few details they had about Zilani biology. The aliens seemed to breathe oxygen like humans, but everything else was unknown. The third ship was the Guardian, a transport vessel full of Marines and repair equipment. Colonel Ryan Bell had packed his ship with everything they might need. His Marines carried weapons, but they also brought tools to fix broken machinery. "Remember," Bell told his men, "we are going to help these aliens, not fight them, but stay ready for anything. We do not know what we will find out there." Sergeant Alex Price checked his equipment one more time. He had been a Marine for 8 years, but this mission felt different. They were not going to fight an enemy. They were going to save lives, The three ships left Earth together, moving faster than light through space. The journey to the alien ship would take 2 days. During that time, the humans prepared for every situation they could think of. On the Defiance, Chief Engineer Danny Clark studied the technical data from the alien distress signal. The Zilani ship used different technology than human ships, but the basic ideas were the same. Their engine exploded from the inside, he explained to Captain Hayes. It looks like a power surge burned out their main systems. We should be able to fix it if we can get the right parts. On the Mercy, Dr. Sullivan worked with Dr. Amy Foster to learn more about the aliens. Foster was the language expert who had translated their message. The Zilani seem to be taller than humans, Foster said, reading from her computer. They have 4 eyes and blue skin. They come from a world with less gravity than Earth. That could be a problem, Sullivan replied. If they are used to low gravity, our normal environment might hurt them. On the Guardian, the Marines practiced different scenarios. What if the aliens were afraid of humans? What if other ships arrived to attack the rescue? What if the alien ship was booby-trapped? Sergeant Price led his squad through training exercises. We go in soft, he told them. No aggressive moves. Keep your weapons ready, but not pointed at anyone. Let the aliens see that we are here to help. During the journey, the human fleet stayed in contact with the dying alien ship. The Zilani were surprised that help was coming so quickly. Most species took days or weeks to decide whether to respond to distress calls. Unknown vessel, this is Captain Vextar of the Harmony's Light, came the alien voice through the radio. We are grateful that you answered our call. May we ask what species you represent? Dr. Foster was the one who answered. She spoke slowly and clearly so the alien translator could understand. We are humans from the planet Earth. We have 3 ships coming to help you. How many crew members do you have? 12 of us remain alive, Vextar replied. We are scientists, not warriors. We mean no harm to you or your people. We understand, Foster said. We are coming to help, not to fight. What is the condition of your ship? Our main engine is destroyed. Life support is failing. We have perhaps 1 day of air remaining. Captain Hayes listened to this conversation from his bridge. 1 day was not much time, but the human ships were fast. They would reach the aliens with hours to spare. Dr. Foster, he said, ask them about their physical needs. What kind of air do they breathe? What is their normal temperature? Foster asked the questions and waited for the reply. The answer made everyone worried. We breathe oxygen like you, Vextar said. But we need much cooler air and lower pressure. We cannot survive in the environment that would be normal for most species. Dr. Sullivan immediately began preparing special chambers with lower pressure and cooler air. If the alien ship was dying, they might need to bring some Zilani aboard the human ship's dot as the fleet got closer to the alien ship. The humans began to understand how desperate the situation was. The Zilani were not just stranded. They were slowly suffocating in their own ship. We are detecting your vessel on our sensors, Captain Hayes reported. We will be with you in 6 hours. Thank you, Vextar replied. His voice sounded weaker than before. We did not expect anyone to come. Most species do not help strangers. Hayes looked at his crew. Most species did not help strangers. What kind of galaxy were they living in? We help people who need help, Hayes said simply. That is what humans do. On the alien ship, Captain Vextar stared at his communications panel. These humans were coming to save them, but he was starting to worry about something else. The human ships were big and fast. They had reached the Zilani location in only 2 days. That kind of speed required powerful engines and advanced technology. Captain, said his engineer Colthen, I have been studying the human radio signals. Their ships are much more advanced than ours. What do you mean? They have military-grade equipment. weapons, shields, armor. These are not rescue ships. These are warships. Vextar felt a chill in his chest. Had they called for help from a warrior species? The humans said they were coming to help, but their ships were built for battle. Maybe they are just being careful, he said hopefully. We would do the same if we were traveling to help unknown aliens. But deep down, Vextar was beginning to realize that his people might have contacted something much more dangerous than they had expected. The humans were coming to save them, but what kind of species traveled through space in warships? In a few hours he would find out. The human ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the alien vessel. Captain Hayes stood on the bridge of the Defiance, looking at the alien ship on his main screen. It was beautiful but clearly dying. There she is, he said to his crew. The Harmony's light. The alien ship was long and curved, like a silver leaf floating in space. It had no weapons that the humans could see. Smooth panels covered its surface, and strange symbols were painted on its sides. But there were no lights in most of its windows. The ship looked almost dead. I am reading 12 life signs, reported the sensor officer. All weak but alive. And the ship? Main power is almost gone. Life support is failing fast. They have maybe 4 hours of air left. Captain Hayes opened a channel to the alien ship. Harmony's light, this is Captain Hayes of the human ship Defiance. We are here to help you. The reply came quickly. Captain Hayes, this is Vextar. We are so grateful. We thought we were going to die out here. Not today, Hayes said. We are sending repair teams to your ship. Can you prepare a docking port for us? Yes, we can do that. But Captain, we should warn you. We are not built like most species. We are fragile. Hayes looked at Dr. Foster, who was standing beside him. She spoke into the radio. Captain Vextar, we understand. We have prepared special equipment for your people. We will be very careful. On the alien ship, Vextar watched his crew prepare for the humans' arrival. The Zilani were tall and thin, with blue skin and 4 eyes. They had long fingers and moved gracefully in the low gravity of their ship. What do we know about these humans? Asked Nexara, the communications officer. Not much, Vextar replied. They speak of Earth as their home world. They move very fast through space. And they came to help us when they did not have to. Engineer Colthan looked worried. Captain, their ships are very powerful. I can see weapons and shields that are much stronger than anything we have. Maybe they need those things where they come from, Vextar said. Let us judge them by their actions, not their weapons. The human repair ship Guardian moved close to the alien vessel. Colonel Bell watched from his ship as the docking tube extended toward the Zilani ship. Connection secure, reported his officer. The alien ship has good air on the other side. Good. Torres, take your team and go fix their engine. Nash, go. With them, in case anyone needs medical help. Everyone else, stay ready. Engineer Sam Torres picked up his tools and walked toward the docking tube. He was a short, strong man who had been fixing starship engines for 15 years. Behind him walked medic Lucy Nash, carrying a bag of medical supplies. Remember, Torres said to his team, we are dealing with aliens. Go slow and be polite. The human team stepped through the docking tube and into the alien ship. The first thing they noticed was how cold it was. The second thing was how quiet everything sounded. The third thing was the alien standing in front of them, Captain Vextar, was 8 feet tall and thin like a tree branch. His blue skin seemed to glow in the dim light. His 4 eyes were large and kind, but they showed fear when he saw the humans. Welcome to our ship, Vextar said in careful English. I am Captain Vextar. I am Sam Torres, the human engineer replied. This is Lucy Nash. We are here to help. Vextar stared at the humans. They were shorter than Zilani, but much thicker and stronger looking. They moved with confidence, and their equipment looked military grade. Even their medical officer carried tools that seemed designed for war. You are very different from what we expected, Vextar said. Torres smiled. Yeah, we get that a lot. Can you show me to your engine room? As they walked through the ship, more Zilani came to see the humans. They whispered to each other in their own language, pointing at the strange visitors. The humans looked so strong and solid compared to the tall, thin aliens. Your people seem built for heavy work, observed Kolthen, the Zilani engineer. We come from a world with strong gravity, Torres explained. Everything on Earth is heavier than it is here. How much heavier? About 3 times heavier. The aliens stopped walking. 3 times the gravity meant these humans lived in conditions that would crush a Zilani in minutes. What kind of world created people this strong? They reached the engine room, and Torres saw the problem immediately. The alien power core had overloaded and burned out half the ship's systems. It was a miracle the ship had not exploded. This is bad, he said, but not impossible to fix. We need to replace these control circuits and rebuild the power flow system. Can you do it? Vextar asked hopefully. Give me 6 hours, Torres replied. He was already pulling tools from his bag and getting to work. While Torres worked on the engine, Medic Nash checked on the alien crew. She found that 3 of them were very sick from breathing bad air. The ship's air scrubbers had been failing for days. I can help them, she told Vextar, but I need to give them oxygen treatments. Will you trust me to treat your people? Vextar looked at the small human woman. She was offering to help his crew with alien medicine. It could save them or kill them. Yes, he said. We trust you. Nash set up her equipment and began treating the sick aliens. They were amazed by how fast she worked and how confident she seemed. Human medicine was clearly very advanced. Where did you learn to work so quickly? Asked one of the sick Zilani. I was a combat medic, Nash replied. I learned to treat wounds during battles. Battles? The alien looked confused. You fight wars? Nash paused. She had not meant to mention that. Sometimes, but we also heal people. We do both. The alien crew members looked at each other. These humans were not just rescuers. They were warriors who had learned medicine in the middle of fighting. What kind of species lived like that? Back in the engine room, Torres was making amazing progress. He worked with tools that seemed far more advanced than anything the Zilani had. His hands moved with skill that came from years of emergency repairs. How do you work so fast? Kolthen asked. Practice, Torres said. When you fight pirates and enemy ships, you learn to fix things quickly or you die. Another mention of fighting. Kolthen was beginning to understand that these humans lived in a very dangerous part of space. Are there many pirates where you come from? Some, but mostly we fight each other. Humans have been at war for most of our history. You fight your own species? Torres looked up from his work. Yeah, we fight over territory, resources, beliefs. Pretty much everything. We only stopped fighting each other when we reached space. Kolthen felt cold. These humans were not just strong and advanced. They were a warrior species that had spent their entire history learning how to fight and kill. But you came to help us, he said quietly. Of course we did, Torres replied. Just because we know how to fight does not mean we want to. We help people who need help. As the hours passed, the human team worked to save the alien ship. They fixed the engine, treated the sick crew members, and repaired the life support systems. They worked with a skill and speed that amazed the Zilani, but the aliens were also becoming more and more frightened. Every conversation revealed something new about human nature. They came from a heavy world that would kill most aliens. They had spent their history fighting wars. Their medicine came from treating battle wounds. Their engineering came from repairing ships during combat. The humans were not just rescuers. They were the most dangerous species the Zilani had ever encountered, and yet, they had traveled across space to save strangers who needed help. The alien ship's lights came back on for the first time in 3 days. Captain Vextar watched in amazement as his control panels flickered to life. The human engineer had done something that seemed impossible. "Your main engine is working again," Sam Torres announced, wiping grease from his hands. "Life support is back to full power. You should be able to make it home safely now. How did you do this so quickly?" Vextar asked. "Our best engineers said it would take weeks to repair this damage," Torres shrugged. "When you grow up fixing things that break during battles, you learn to work fast. We had to rebuild half our fleet after the Mars War." Mars War? The alien. Captain had never heard that term before. "Yeah, humans fought each other over Mars about 50 years ago. Big space battle. Lots of ships got damaged. We learned a lot about emergency repairs during that time." Dr. Amy Foster, who had been translating conversations, stepped forward. She could see that Captain Vextar was confused and worried about something. "Captain Vextar," she said gently, "would you like to know more about humans? You seem to have questions." The tall alien looked around at his crew. They were all listening, curious but afraid. "Yes," he said slowly. "We are grateful for your help, but we do not understand your people. You seem very powerful." Foster nodded. "We come from a world called Earth. It is very different from most planets where life grows." "How different?" "Earth has 3 times the gravity of your world. The air is thicker. The weather can kill you in minutes. Most of the planet is covered with water that has dangerous creatures living in it." The Zilani crew moved closer to listen. "This was hard to believe. You live in such conditions?" asked Nexara, the communications officer. "We evolved there," Foster explained. "Humans are adapted to survive in places that would kill most other species. We call worlds like Earth Deathworlds because they are so dangerous." "Deathworlds?" Vextar whispered. He had heard that term before, in old stories from space traders. They spoke of legendary planets where only the strongest creatures could live. "What kind of creatures live on your world?" asked Colthen. The engineer. Foster thought about how to explain this without scaring them too much. "Well, we have large predators that hunt in packs, flying creatures with sharp claws, ocean animals bigger than your ship, plants that can poison you just by touching them." The alien stared at her in horror. "And humans live alongside these creatures?" "We used to hunt them for food," Foster said. "Before we learned to grow crops, humans survived by chasing down large animals and killing them with simple tools." Medic Lucy Nash joined the conversation. She had finished treating the sick Zilani and wanted to talk with them about their biology. "Your people are very different from humans," she told Vextar. "You are built for low gravity and peaceful environments. Humans are built for survival and conflict." "Conflict?" "Fighting," Nash explained. "Humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We fought with sticks and stones, then metal weapons, then explosives, then energy weapons, then spaceships. But why do you fight so much?" Nash looked uncomfortable. "It is our nature. We are territorial. We compete for resources. We have different ideas about how to live, and sometimes we fight about those ideas." Dr. Foster continued the explanation. "Human history is mostly a story of wars. We fought for land, for water, for food, for power. We built weapons that could destroy entire cities. We created armies of millions of soldiers." "This sounds terrible," said one of the Zilani scientists. "It was," Foster agreed. "But it also made us very good at building things quickly, solving problems under pressure, and working together when we face danger." Captain Hayes contacted the alien ship from the Defiance. "How are the repairs going? Do you need anything else?" "Captain Hayes," Vextar replied. "We are curious about your ships. They seem designed for war, not rescue. There was a pause before Hayes answered. That's true. The Defiance is a warship. So is the Guardian. The Mercy is a medical ship, but it also carries weapons. Why do you need weapons for a rescue mission? We didn't know what we would find out here, Hayes explained. Space can be dangerous. There are pirates, hostile aliens, and worse things. We always travel ready to defend ourselves. Are there many hostile aliens in your part of space? We don't know yet. You are the first aliens we have met. But humans learned long ago to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. The Zilani crew gathered together to talk privately in their own language. The humans waited patiently while the aliens discussed what they had learned. What do you think they are talking about? Torres asked Foster. Probably trying to decide if we are dangerous, she replied. From their point of view, we are creatures from a nightmare world who live by fighting and carry enough weapons to destroy planets. Are we dangerous? Foster thought about this. To them, yes, we could be very dangerous. But we chose to help them instead. After several minutes, Captain Vextar returned to speak with the humans. We have been discussing your people, he said carefully. We understand now that humans are what the old stories call apex Deathworlders. You are the kind of species that other races fear. We don't want to be feared, Foster said. We came here to help you. Yes, and we are grateful. But we must ask, why did you help us? Your ships could have ignored our distress call. You could have taken our ship and left us to die. You could have demanded payment for your help. Why did you risk your lives for strangers? The humans looked at each other. The question seemed strange to them. Because you needed help, Captain Hayes said over the radio. That's what you do when someone is in trouble. You help them, even if they are aliens? Even if helping them gives you no benefit? Especially then, said Torres. Anyone can help their friends. Good people help strangers. Nash nodded. We have a saying on Earth, with great power comes great responsibility. Humans are strong and dangerous, so we have a duty to protect those who are weaker. The Zilani were quiet for a long time. Their species had explored space for hundreds of years, but they had never met anyone like these humans. Most aliens they encountered were interested only in trade or their own survival. Many were hostile or greedy, but these humans, these apex predators from a death world, had traveled across the galaxy to save people they had never met. They asked for nothing in return. We would like to learn more about your people, Vextar said finally. And we would like you to learn about ours. Perhaps we can be friends. We would like that very much, Foster replied. There is one thing we must tell you, Vextar continued. Other species in this part of the galaxy may not welcome humans as we do. There are those who attack anything they do not understand. There are others who might try to use your power for their own purposes. Are you warning us about something? Yes, when word spreads that humans have reached space, it will change everything. Some will want to be your allies. Others will see you as a threat that must be destroyed. Captain Hayes spoke from his ship. Thank you for the warning. We will be careful. Captain Hayes, may we ask you something? Of course. If hostile aliens attacked you, what would you do? There was another long pause before Hayes answered. We would defend ourselves, and we would defend our friends. The way he said defend made it clear that humans were very good at it. For the first time since the rescue began, Captain Vextar smiled. His people had been saved by the galaxy's most dangerous species. But perhaps being friends with apex predators was better than being their enemies. The Zilani ship was ready to travel again. Its engines hummed with power, and fresh air flowed through every room. Captain Vextar stood on his bridge, looking at the 3 human ships that had saved his crew. Harmony's light to Captain Hayes. He said into his communicator, "We are ready to begin our journey home. We cannot thank you enough for what you have done. It was our pleasure, Hayes replied from the Defiance. But we have a question for you. Would you like us to escort you? Partway home? Space can be dangerous, and your ship is still not at full strength. Vextar looked at his crew. They had been talking about this possibility for hours. Having human warships as escorts would be the safest way to travel. But it would also mean other aliens would see humans for the first time. That is very kind of you, Vextar said. But we must warn you. If other species see your ships, word will spread quickly through this part of the galaxy. Everyone will know that humans have reached space. Is that a bad thing? Not bad, but it will change everything. Some species will want to meet you and trade with you. Others will be afraid and might try to attack you first. Dr. Amy Foster spoke from the Mercy. Captain Vextar, we have been alone in the universe for our entire history. Meeting you has shown us that we are not the only intelligent life. We would like to meet other species too, even if some of them are hostile. Especially then, said Captain Hayes. We would rather know about dangers than be surprised by them. Vextar made his decision. Then we would be honored to have you escort us partway home. But I should tell you about the route we must take. What about it? We will pass through the territory of the Crix Imperium. They are not as peaceful as my people. The Crix believe that the strong should rule over the weak. They may see your powerful ships as either a threat or an opportunity. Colonel Bell joined the conversation from the Guardian. What kind of opportunity? The Crix are always looking for new weapons and new allies for their wars. They might try to hire you as mercenaries. Or they might try to steal your technology. And if we refuse, then they might attack you to prevent you from helping their enemies. The human captains were quiet for a moment, thinking about this information. How strong are these Crix? Hayes asked. They have many ships and they are good fighters. But their technology is not as advanced as yours. They use numbers and aggression to win battles. Sounds familiar, muttered Torres from the repair bay. Reminds me of humans 100 years ago. The two fleets began their journey together. The human ship stayed close to the Zalani vessel, forming a protective formation around it. They traveled at the speed the alien ship could manage, which was slower than the humans were used to. During the journey, the crews of both species continued to learn about each other. The humans were fascinated by Zalani science and peaceful culture. The aliens were amazed by human engineering and military organization. Your people have never fought a war? Sergeant Alex Price asked during one conversation. Never, replied Nexara. We have had disagreements, but we always solve them with words, not weapons. That sounds nice, Price said. But what do you do when someone attacks you? It has never happened. Most species we meet are traders or other researchers. Violence is very rare in our part of space. Price thought about this. Maybe it's rare. Because species like the Crix know they can push peaceful people around. Sometimes you have to fight to keep the peace. Is that why humans are so good at fighting? To protect peace? Sometimes we also fight for bad reasons. But at least we know how to defend ourselves and others. On the third day of travel, the ships encountered their first aliens other than the Zalani. A small Crix patrol found them near the edge of Imperium space. Unknown vessels, came a harsh voice over the radio. You are entering Crix territory. Identify yourselves and state your business. Captain Hayes answered calmly. This is the human ship Defiance. We are escorting the Zalani research vessel Harmony's Light back to their territory. Humans? There was surprise in the alien voice. We have never heard of your species. What is your homeworld? Earth. Where is this Earth? We know all the major spacefaring civilizations. It is outside your territory, Hayes replied. We are new to this part of space. The Crix patrol ship moved closer. It was smaller than any of the human ships but covered in weapons and armor. Through the view screen, The humans could see the aliens inside. The Kricks looked like large reptiles walking on two legs. They had scales, sharp teeth, and yellow eyes. "Your ships appear to be warships," the Kricks commander said. "Are you mercenaries looking for work?" "No, we are not for hire." "Too bad. The Imperium always has use for skilled warriors." "What kind of weapons do those ships carry?" Hayes looked at his tactical officer, who shook his head. The human captain decided not to answer that question. "We are not here to fight anyone," Hayes said. "We are simply helping friends get home safely." "Friends?" The Kricks commander sounded amused. "The Zolani are weak scientists. Why would warriors like you protect them?" "Because they needed help." "That is not how the galaxy works," the Kricks said. "The strong take what they want from the weak. That is the natural order. Not where we come from." The Crick ship scanned the human vessels with sensors. The results must have been interesting because the alien commander's voice changed. "Your ships are more advanced than they appear," he said slowly. "Perhaps the Imperium was wrong to dismiss you so quickly. We should talk." "About what?" "Alliance. The Kricks are always expanding our territory. We could use allies with ships like yours. Join us, and we will share the profits of conquest." Captain Hayes felt anger rising in his chest. These aliens wanted humans to help them attack and conquer other species. "We are not interested," he said firmly. "Think carefully," the Kricks commander warned. "The Imperium does not like being refused. It would be better to be our allies than our enemies." "Is that a threat?" "It is advice. This galaxy belongs to the strong. Weak species like the Zolani survive only because we allow it. If you protect the weak, you make yourself weak." Colonel Bell spoke from the Guardian. "Captain Hayes, perhaps we should show these Kricks what human ships can really do." The Kricks commander heard this and laughed. "You think 3 ships can fight the entire Imperium? We have thousands of vessels." "We don't want to fight anyone," Hayes replied. "But we will defend ourselves if attacked." "Then you will die. The Imperium has conquered half this galaxy. We do not fear unknown aliens with a few warships." The Kricks patrol ship moved away, but its commander had one final message. "We will report your presence to our fleet commanders. They will decide what to do about you. I suggest you leave our territory quickly." After the Crick ship disappeared, the human and Zolani crews talked about what had happened. "That was typical Crick's behavior," Vextar explained. "They see everything in terms of strength and weakness. They cannot understand why you would help others without expecting payment." "Are they going to attack us?" asked Dr. Sullivan. "Probably. Not immediately, but they will send word to their commanders. Soon, every species in this part of the galaxy will know about humans." "What will they think?" Foster asked. "That depends on the species. The peaceful ones will be curious about you. The aggressive ones will see you as either potential allies or dangerous enemies." Captain Hayes made a decision. "Then we need to be ready for both reactions." "Vextar, when we reach your territory, would your government be willing to meet with human representatives?" "I believe so. My people are always interested in learning about new civilizations." "Good. Maybe we can arrange some kind of formal relationship between our species." "You mean an alliance?" "Friendship, at least. Humans are new to this galaxy, and we need friends who can teach us about the other species here." Vextar smiled. "And the Zolani could use friends who know how to defend themselves." The combined fleet continued its journey toward Zolani space. Behind them, Crick's messages raced through space, carrying news of the mysterious humans to every corner of the galaxy. A new chapter in galactic history had begun. The apex predators from Earth had announced their presence to the universe, not with conquest or threats, but with an act of mercy toward strangers in need. The galaxy would never be the same.